very excited about Sim Update Beta 4 for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I was pretty happy with Sim Update 3, but when they released the final version, there were some issues that people were reporting where they noticed a bit of a performance decrease. I personally didn't, but I am excited to test out the latest Sim Update Beta 4 because we are touted to have some performance and stability fixes. And most notably is the reduction in VRAM, but also the addition of the slider for fixed foveated rendering and the scale at which that is rendering that foveated area. Now, you could make those adjustments in the config file previously, plus Pimax had also released in their latest software the ability for you to tune that foveated rendering area as well. But I'm happy to see that Microsoft have added that to the options in the graphics settings, because if you're going to add a feature like that, it's pretty easy to add a slider so you can adjust it. We were able to make those adjustments in the config file, and it's pretty straightforward stuff, but I get it. For most people, they don't want to be digging around in config files and messing with their settings. So happy to see that's been added. Plus, there's meant to be a myriad of fixes for stability, and some of the aircraft have had some fixes to it. I believe the navigational pointers and markers have been improved. So we'll check it all out and see if there's been any type of uplift. I'll be running my standard benchmark. We're going to go through New York City, do a run in the Kit Fox, and we'll also compare those results side by side to see if there's been any type of performance uplift. Now, I am running an RTX 5090. I've got 64 gig of DDR5 RAM. I'm running the 9800 X3D CPU. I've got an NVMe solid state drive in that machine. So it's pretty top end, but soon I'll also be benchmarking with the RTX 5070 Ti. So excited to test that stuff out in the future. But for this one, we're going to be using the Pimax Crystal Super. And on the Pimax Crystal headsets, I do want to remind everyone the Pimax Crystal Super still has until the end of this year. So until December, you can get the $100 off if you can prove ownership of a number of different headsets. Now, those headsets I'll put up on screen now, and I'll also have a link in the description to that offer. But if you can prove ownership, you can get $100 off the Pimax Crystal Lite, and that is a bloody good headset if you are wanting really good visuals at the sacrifice of a little bit of the FOV. But the Pimax Crystal Lite for a long time was my go-to headset. It really, really was where it's at when it comes to sim racing and being in simulators of flying or space. The colors are good, the visuals are excellent, and it doesn't put as big a hit on your PC as the Pimax Crystal Super does. And there is also the offer from Pimax on the Pimax Crystal Super now for the Hans VR prescription lenses for free when you purchase the Pimax Crystal Super. Now, I believe that offer is going to also run until December. Something to be aware of though is if you order before the 14th of September, which as of making this video is only in a couple of days, you can also get the free DMAS audio speakers included. They are going to be dropping that from that offer after the 14th of September, mainly because the Pimax Crystal Super is going back to normal order timeframes. So what are normal order timeframes? I'm assuming you should get your headset within a couple of weeks to a month total when buying the Pimax Crystal Super. So it's good to see that their ordering has all gone back to normal. Stock levels have normalized, so you should be able to get a headset nice and quick. Anyway, let's get into this video. Should be a good one. We're testing out the Pimax Crystal Super in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, comparing Sim Update 3 to Sim Update Beta 4. And the last thing is, my goodness, they have finally changed the rendering on the screen when in VR, so it's no longer showing you both eyes. And for a content creator, it is a bloody nightmare. I've got to crop the screen. I've got to do all sorts of voodoo trickery to get it all nice for you. So I'm happy to see that they have finally changed it to render just from one eye, and they have put it in the right aspect ratio of 16:9. So for content creators and trying to share this stuff for everyone, it's going to make life a lot easier. Let's get into the video and check it out. right, we are here at Boys Air Terminal. I thought we'd go for a fly and check out sim update for the beta, and it's looking really good. I mean, I haven't seen a massive performance difference. I was getting pretty good performance from it already, and as you saw from the side-by-sides, there's a little bit in certain areas, and there's a little less in others, so it's really hard to say, but some of the things I'm really happy about is certainly what you're seeing for the screen capture now. The screen recording for anyone doing content is just, man, it really is nice. And I love the 16:9 aspect ratio where it's really capturing the side of the airframe, and you can see with me looking around it's capturing such a fantastic viewpoint. I cannot wait to get up and do some bush flying. So we're going to head up towards Idaho, do a bit of a fly through the backcountry. Well, we could technically kind of be in Idaho. Look, I don't know my geography around Idaho that well, but we are in the backcountry for some backcountry flying. So we are running Say Intentions AI. For those that don't know what it is, it's air traffic control that's using software, and it's interfacing with the artificial intelligence to give us real-time air traffic control responses to what we're asking and what we're saying. It is incredible. Plus, we've got the traffic injection. So if I zoom out, you can see we've got aircraft on the tarmac, and one looks like it's about to, is that departing out? Oh no, that's just, that's parked there. But these are all aircraft that are controlled by the Say Intentions AI air traffic control. All right, so let's get up AI, ATC, and I've got all the bells and whistles turned on, so it's telling me what frequency I need to be on and all that stuff. I find it a lot easier for me. So we need to contact ground on 121.7. So let's get that punched in. Comms, 121.7. Ground, boys ground. Experimental Charlie Mike Bravo. We are requesting runway for departure. Departing out, heading north towards Idaho.
Experimental Charlie Mike Bravo, taxi to runway 10 left via Alpha Bravo 1. Contact tower on 118.1 when ready for departure.
Okay, now here's the other thing I love about Say Intentions is I am still learning, and oh gosh, I lock up at the best of times in what to say and the communication, and being able to see what's transcribed there for me makes such a difference for me to then be able to confirm back and know what I've actually got to do. Boys ground, Experimental Charlie Mike Bravo, understood. We are taxiing to runway 10L via Alpha Bravo 1. So taxi to runway 10L. All right, so let's have a look on our map here to see which runway that is. So runway 10L. I'm just not seeing. Gosh, it's not really giving us anything on the map there. And interestingly, I'm not able to zoom in any further on the map. So, gosh, that's something interesting from the update. I don't know. Well, certainly that's not the case with Sim Update 3. So we'll jump back to the flight planner. Wow. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I just simply cannot zoom in any further on that map, so I just cannot see what the runway is, and I've got no other charts on me. So that's something I've noticed, which doesn't seem to be working for me properly. Okay, awesome. I can see runway 10L there in front of us, so it looks like we're heading down in this direction. Okay, there we go. It looks like we've got runway 10L, so we're just going to hold short here for a sec, and we will get tower on radio. So let's have a quick look and see what channel we have got.
Little Charlie Mike Bravo, contact tower on 118.1. Have a good morning.
Oh, how cool. It's detected that I've actually arrived at where I was meant to radio, and they've handed me over. Boys ground, Experimental Charlie Mike Bravo, understood. We will switch radio to tower. Have a good morning. That is so cool. That's the first time I've had it kick in so quick. So I'm not sure if they've done some updates or what's happened there, but that was really, really responsive. Happy with that. So it's already changed my frequency for me to 118.1. Now, again, I've got all the bells and whistles turned on, so it's going to do that automatically. But I'm just going to confirm. So if we jump down here, we'll go to Say Intentions AI. Again, we can have a look at all the transcription, and yeah, we can see there, where are we? Yep, tower 118.1. So let's tune in on that. And all we need to do, because it's committed it, is switch to that. Boys Tower, experimental Charlie Mike Bravo. We are ready for departure on runway 10.
Experimental Hotel Charlie Mike Bravo, Boise Tower, runway 10 left, winds 180 at 3, cleared for takeoff.
All right, so let's check. Rudder is good, flight controls are good. We're gonna go half flaps and we are ready to depart out. So we're going to be banking to our left and heading up into this mountain range here. Once we have followed out the runway. Now it's funny, I am detecting some little micro stutters here. That could be the content loading in, and it's just ever so slight. But from some of the flying I've done earlier, I have noticed certain areas do smooth out if I sort of loop around. Now, I have cleared my cache, so obviously it is having to load some of the data again. I recommend you clear your rolling cache anyway whenever you do an update with Microsoft Flight Simulator. But my first impressions, it's playing really good. And I was actually having a pretty good time with Sim Update 3, even the final release version. Some people had complained about having some issues with it. I found it running pretty good. I think the biggest thing for me, because I do a lot of bush flying in the Kit Fox and the other bush aircraft, I think the biggest one is really the fact that it's rendering single eye now, and it means that any screen capture I'm doing is going to come through across really, really good. Yeah, I mean, performance-wise, I think it's much of a muchness for me. I'm not really noticing a huge uplift. I will be doing some testing in the coming months with the RTX 5070 Ti, and that'll be an interesting one because I think that's more an accurate use case for most people out there. Not everyone has got a 5090 and all the other bits of hardware to go with it. I think more medium spec hardware is a better test, but I think my big takeaway is it's in beta. If you're having issues with Sim Update 3 and there's performance problems, it's probably worth giving it a shot and updating to Sim Update 4 beta. But if you're happy with Sim Update 3 at the moment and you don't care about the additions to some of the aircraft fixes, which I'll put up on screen now, what all of the fixes are for the most part for most people with Sim Update 4 beta. But I think if you're really wanting the foveated rendering slider, or you're doing any screen capture like I am now, and you want that that new aspect ratio and single eye capture, I'd probably stick to Sim Update 3 until they've ironed out some of the kinks. Now I'm up in the air though, I've got to say this is playing really smooth. It is looking really good on the headset. The lighting looks stunning. It is buttery smooth. Cockpit is crystal clear. Yeah, it is just looking so good. So I think we might even see if we can round the video out by getting a cheeky bush landing up on one of these mountain ranges up here. And it looks like we might have a bit of a clearing on top of one of these. So we might just circle to the right here. Okay, so it looks like we've got a clearing up on top of this here. We're just going to go half flaps. Actually, we might even wash off some more speed. We're going full flaps, which is going to be a tricky one. Oh, can we do it? Let's get the mouse out of the way. All right, we're just going to try and nudge it through these trees here. See if we can use this incline to our advantage. Straight through the trees. A little bit more throttle there. Oh, we almost nosedived. We made it. We are up the top. Oh man, that was perfect. Oh, you little beauty. All right, let's just bring her around here and, oh my gosh, we are going to jump out. Let's get the park brake on. Here we go. Oh man, tell you what, it's looking really good. This is probably something that I'm noticing, the terrain and the feeling in the VR headset just feels less janky, I guess. Just feels smoother. Yeah, it just feels smoother in the headset. Certainly making me want to get out on foot more and cruise around and explore the terrain once landed. But yeah, this is looking fantastic. I just love this game. So I just jumped out of the sim after going for a quick little bush fly. First impressions, it's working really good. But I was having a pretty good time with Sim Update 3 anyway. And I think for the most part, unless you're having any issues or you're really struggling and you just want to see if you can get any more frames per second out of the sim with the latest update, I probably wouldn't switch just yet. If you want to take advantage of the single eye rendering when screen recording and being able to also have the slider for the fixed foveated rendering, then I think it's a must. There are also some updates to a few of the aircraft that have been having some issues and a few little glitches that hopefully will fix that. So if you are experiencing those things, then yes, it's worth doing it. But for the most part, for me, it was playing pretty much of a muchness, but I am really happy with the direction that we're going because the game is playing really good. After those final updates with Sim Update 3, and I think they had 3 different releases of Sim Update 3 beta, it was really starting to get good. Foveated rendering. The game is playing really good, and especially being able to lean on things like adjusting the foveation scale. Although we could do that in the config file, it really is making a big difference to getting the most out of the game. I mean, I'm getting a good solid 50, 60 frames per second when I'm out bush flying with everything cranked, and it looks really good. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.